Hello everyone, it's Sam from Weekly Abductions. I'm bringing you another video of Ark Survival Evolved. And this one, it's going to be the top 10 list of flying creatures of the Ark. These ones are kind of more the realistic ones. I will be getting into those fantasy ones in upcoming videos. So for number 10, we're going to do the Onyx. The Onyx is like a flying bat that you find mostly in caves. They are a passive tame creature. You use spoiled meat to tame them. They are definitely not the easiest to tame because you have to kind of creep up on them, and since they are kind of flying a little bit above the ground, it is slightly difficult to actually tame these creatures, but it is possible. They are not rideable, but they do have a very deadly bite. If you do get bit by them, it's good to have a decent amount of healing brews on you to kind of stay alive, especially if you are cave exploring to find artifacts or some of the deep cave loot drops. Brings us to number 9. Number 9 is kind of like a lower level kind of tame, and it is the Pteranodon. The Pteranodon is a easier kind of like first flying tame you can get. It is a knockout tame, and then you feed it raw meat, but it is a good one. It's very fast. It has a dart move, but that does eat up a lot of stamina, and so you kind of do like a barrel roll in the sky and it like boosts you forward. But you definitely need to have like lots of stamina on the Pteranodon if you want to not have to land after doing one of those maneuvers. But it is a very quick one to quickly get away from a dangerous situation if you need to. So number 8 is the Meganeura. The Meganeura is like basically a giant dragonfly, but they're a lot more aggressive in Ark than they would be in nowadays time, just because of the fact that it's a lot bigger back then and the things it eats are a lot bigger as well. So these creatures, when you find them, there's going to be a lot around, just because it's kind of like a fly effect almost, where like when there's one, there's going to be many around, and if you attack one of these, kind of triggers a swarm effect to where all of them will kind of hoard your direction, and they'll either kill you or you will kill all of them. These are really helpful is if you have a Beelzeboof, which is a giant frog. It's a great way to get cementing paste, is to just ride your Beelzeboof and then attack these things, and you just create cementing paste and then also get chitin or chitin. Number 7 is the Ichthyornis. The Ichthyornis is kind of like a smaller, it's not really a smaller, it's like a little bit bigger than the dodo, but this one can be kind of a pest, just because if you are in its vicinity, it likes shiny objects and it likes to steal food from you. So it can fly down and either steal food from you, or if you're holding out like a tool or a weapon, it will actually knock the weapon out of your hand. It will not steal it like the Pagomastix will, just because it's not big enough to actually take the weapons from you, but it will knock it out of the hand, making it kind of inconvenient. And when you come across these, there's usually a couple around, so it can be quite a pain. But they are a good one to tame. They are not rideable, but like they do come with like a good amount of perks to where you can steal food from other people or knock items out of other people's hands, which is always niceful if you're in a PvP battle. So number 6 is going to be the Microraptor. So the Microraptor is a flying dinosaur, and it takes flight whenever it becomes aggressive. And what it'll do is if you're on top of a tame, it will knock you off the tame and kind of stun you for a little bit, which is not great, because usually when you come across these, there's like 2 or 3 of them around you. They can ride on your shoulder, and they're a really nice tame if you want to like knock other players off of their tames when you are in a PvP situation. These ones are a knockout tame, and they're very fast, and they move really quickly on the ground and flying, so it is slightly difficult to knock these ones out. But if you catch them kind of by surprise, it can be a little bit easier, but it's still not, it's a little bit of a challenge, I will say. It's not like a super challenge. It's not like a giga level. So number 5 is the Dimorphodon. So you do see Dimorphodons in the Jurassic World, where they like pick up some of the people and then like kind of drop them. You can't be picked up by a Dimorphodon in this game because they are a lot smaller in Ark than they are in Jurassic World. But they are a good one to have, because if you have a bunch of them, they can kind of swarm an enemy. So if they break into your base, you have them set to aggressive. Once they break in, they just get swarmed by these and just completely obliterated. So they are a fun tame to have if you want to make like kind of like a base defense of them, and make it so when people break in, they just get hoarded. Number 4 is the Archaeopteryx. The Archaeopteryx is a good tame to have because it's like opposed from building a bunch of parachutes, it's like a tameable parachute, because essentially you can, once you jump off a cliff, you can actually glide for a good distance with these before it starts to drop, unlike parachutes, which kind of just immediately drops you. It was like the glide before they actually made the glides in Aberration. So Aberrations, you can make a glide suit that it's attached to one of your outfits, like the chest armor. But in this one, you can actually have a tame that does it. And when you have this tame kind of on your back, it looks kind of funny because you're holding its feet and then you're just like running while doing this. So it looks pretty funny if you have them like attached to your back. But they are a good tame to have, so that's why I put it in the number 4 slot. So they are a knockout tame, and you can use simple kibble for them or chitin. So now it's number 3. So number 3 was kind of difficult to me. I didn't know if I wanted it to put it at number 2 or number 3. So number 3 is going to be the Tapahara. The Tapahara is kind of like the Troodon, but it has like a giant fin on top of its head. So the Tapahara is a 3 rideable like saddle. So you can have the drivers in the middle, someone up front looking forward, someone in back looking backwards. These ones are really nice because unlike any other tame, you don't have to land on like a rock or like the ground, a rock or something. You can actually attach yourself to a cliff wall, so you're out of the way of most predators besides flying ones, to recover your stamina. So it is a good tame to have. It's definitely a harder one to kind of tame, just because these ones don't really land very often. They're mostly up in the air, so they're not like the Pteranodon that lands more frequently. These ones sometimes land well, but sometimes don't. So a good way to tame them is to kind of build like a taming pin and hope you scare it directly into that taming pin. Otherwise, it's going to be difficult. And another like way to use it is like an Argentavis, and have someone flying an Argentavis or a Pteranodon, and they're holding you by like the talons, and then you're just shooting it and hope they don't drop you, which happens. That's why you have parachutes on. Number 2 is going to be the Argentavis, which is like a giant condor. These ones are really nice because they're one of the slower moving ones. They can pick up a lot more, carry a lot more like medium-sized dinosaurs opposed from a lot of the other ones besides the real big heavy hitters. These ones are a knockout tame. It is kind of like an easier one, so it could easily be like your first flying tame or your second if you really wanted to. Usually I go straight for the Argentavis first and like skip the Pteranodon. I use Pteranodons for some things, but I don't normally tame them as much. I usually get Argentavises and then just like kind of breed them into what I kind of want. They can pick up a lot more. Their saddles are basically a smithy, so you can actually build stuff within their inventory. So you want to pump up their weight a lot. Stamina is another good one, and health. Attack, you can have separate ones. You can have like a building Argentavis, and then you can also have like an attack Argentavis, which is enough weight to carry all the stuff you need for a PvP battle or whatever you're trying to do. And then a bunch of health, melee, and stamina is always a key with this one, since it does move a lot slower. It takes longer to traverse the map, but it's one of my favorites because they look pretty cool. So number 1 is a flying Parasaurolophus from Jurassic Park. Number 1 is the Quetzalcoatlus. So the Quetzalcoatlus is obviously the big heavy hitter just because you can build a base on its back, so you can in turn build a taming pin to tame other Quetzalcoatluses, because these are really difficult to tame in the beginning. So when you get one, it's easier to tame others, but getting the first one is very difficult. And there's many times that I have knocked one of these out and it's fallen into a river or right into a pack of carnivores, which they just immediately kill it, or it drowns to death. And then it's infuriating because these are not, there's only like, I think 2 that spawn on the map at one time. So finding one is hard enough, especially at a decent level. So this one is kind of like a more later game slash a very tedious one because it's not fun. You need help with it, you can do it solo. I have done it solo by using an Argentavis, and then I snipe it, hop on the Argentavis, follow it, like it starts to go out of the render distance, but you can still get it. Then once it starts slowing down, you snap it again. It's a process. It's a process. With other people, it's a lot easier because then you have two people and one can constantly fly, opposed from you kind of like hovering there to like shoot it. So it's always nice to have a friend to help you tame these ones, but it is possible to do it solo. It is a knockout tame. The base is really fun because you can use that for PvP. You can use it for, like I said, a mobile taming pin, but then you can also use it as like a cage. So if you have one of these and you have a tame that you want to carry back, you can actually put them up on top of this. It's very laggy if you do this, and it's sometimes the tames fall out, but you can fly tames back that way. Or since these are larger dinosaurs, you can pick up a majority, if not all, dinosaurs besides the really large ones like a Bronto or a T-Rex. You can't really pick those up because then it would just be kind of a little bit too OP. But you can pick up basically any other dinosaur besides those ones in the Diplo. That is the conclusion of the flying prehistoric creatures of the Ark world. Like I said, I will be doing like ones that we still kind of have nowadays. And then also I will be doing another one for the fantasy side of it, which is the one that I'm kind of most excited for, but I want to save that one for later just because of how excited I will be for it. Wanted to get the others out of the way in the meantime. But thanks for watching this top 10 list. If you want to see any more of our top 10 list, you can check the link right up over here. If you want to see more of Cool's Paranormal, check the link up over here. Give us a like and subscribe if you like our top 10 lists, and feel free to give us any suggestions of a 10 list that you would want us to talk about. Could be video games, could be movies, could be anything that we want.